You don't need another certificate or another qualification. You are as good as anybody else. What you have is your unique ability to show up and share your message, your way, from the people who will connect with you and need to hear it from you because they resonate and identify with who you are.
Hello and welcome to the best branding podcast for women with me, Kirande, digital marketeer and psychologist. For years I've helped a variety of organizations to get their message across through the internet, via their website and social media. But now I'm focusing on helping female experts, consultants and coaches to build a strong name in the world of business. In the next few episodes I will be interviewing experienced public speakers to encourage you to step up your game, get on stage and use public speaking to further boost your personal brand on LinkedIn and YouTube. As Laura said in the introduction, you don't need another certificate or qualification. You are already as good as anybody else.
Laura Trendall, you're the founder of the Game Changer Consultancy, a company that delivers corporate trainings in leadership and strategy. You're very devoted to trying to amplify professional women's voices. You're the author of Game Changer for Women. And in addition, you've been a TEDx speaker and a TEDx coach. Can you share a bit about your journey and what led you to become a TEDx coach and speaker? Absolutely. Kirande, I'm going to say thank you firstly for inviting me onto this podcast. I know we have a shared passion for helping women to be seen, heard, and visible. For me, that journey started very early. I remember being 5 years old and wanting to be an astronaut. And my mother said, girls don't do that. So lo and behold, was a kind of lifetime mission was sparked there to prove that actually girls, women, we can do equally as well as men. To that end, through my career, I started my career with British Telecom PLC. My ambition for myself was to move into account development, growing P&Ls, and that's what I successfully did. I led on margin and profit improvement projects across sectors for retail, brands, and distribution, traditional logistics. Again, an area where we don't often see many female leaders. So, advocacy and promoting women coming forward was something that was key. In 2008, I qualified as a coach. Being invited to stand for chair of the BT Women's Network gave me the opportunity to connect with so many amazing women. So I coached a lot of midlife women, and those learnings really are what we saw translated into the Game Changer for Women book. And when I came out of my corporate career, I realized obviously the fastest route to building a recognizable brand and personal brand, as I talk about in my book, is speaking. I was getting a lot of inquiries from women about how I was securing speaking, how I was being so visible, given that I was also a mum of 3 daughters. What that led to was a collaboration with another female coach to look at developing a Talk Like TED program where we helped women to identify their signature message, look at that through line, and then look at the actual technical speaking skills of pace, of tone, engagement, so that they could deliver confidently. And obviously, we've seen several programs like that emanate since. This was one of the early ones, and really proud to have done that with my colleague. And from that, I was invited to do TEDx speaking and also to coach other aspiring TEDx speakers. What I love about TED is it's not selecting people who are necessarily speakers per se as professionals. It's all about the idea. And I think there's a beautiful equity to that, actually.
Absolutely. And was that your topic of your TEDx speech?
My TEDx speech was actually Brilliant Futures Start with Better Leadership. So this was talking about how leadership is something that is not necessarily the preserves of the board of an organization or those in government, but actually how leadership is something that we can activate within our communities, within our families. And so it talks about 10 essentials of leadership. And the one that I really like to focus on is courage. in leadership, and it's having the ability, even when you know an idea, let's say, might be new, it might be novel and not easily accepted by people, to have the courage to stand by that and keep promoting that idea. And again, that's something I've had experience of because I was in industrial relations promoting mental health at a time when mental health in corporates wasn't talked about. It only started to be talked about in the UK business world probably in 2015. I was working on this from probably about 2000 onwards. So I think having the courage to be an outlier, to bring new ideas, to help people innovate and to be that way shower. And I think we can do that, as I say, at all levels, whether that is through participating through school governance and PTA, whether it's instituting campaigns in your local area to improve conditions for people. And what I love is there are so many ways that people can contribute and people can step up and lead in the areas that they're passionate about.
Beautiful. And courage requires confidence. So, is it a correct assumption that in your role of the founder of the Game Changer consultancy, that you also focus a lot on creating confidence and thus courage, and thus you can bring about change?
Yes, but what I'm going to say is there's a very big difference between what I call authentic confidence, embodied confidence, versus the presentation of confidence, which is sometimes we can feel that comes across as a little artificial. When we're in a position of leadership, we want to inspire and take others with us. So the other important factor I talk about is humility, which is about being very much yourself, embracing the gifts that you have. When we talk about confidence, it's the ability to share from a place of understanding enough already. You don't need, and I was talking with a client about this morning, you don't need another certificate or another qualification. You are as good as anybody else. And if you have a message to deliver, my belief is we are given these messages to pass on to other people, almost like we're a channel for messages. Also, there is no original thought. We all collectively, we share ideas, passions. What you have is your unique ability to show up and share your message your way from the people who will connect with you and need to hear it from you because they resonate and identify with who you are. Sometimes people think public speaking is like a pair of oversized shoes that they need to step into. And it's not that. It's not about pretending to be something you aren't. It is the best advice I could give any aspiring public speaker is to be yourself. So when I talk about public speaking training, I'm certainly not saying the left hand does this, the right hand does that, walk this way, do this. What I work with individuals is to look at what is it that makes them uniquely them, and how can we bring that into how they're speaking. So as a lot of my clients are international clients, this means I'm not teaching them to enunciate perfectly. We embrace the accent they are born with.
And you respect, and your clients can remain authentic.
100%. 100%.
What is a big misconception about TEDx public speaking?
Oh, that's a really great question. I think the misconception about TEDx public speaking, it's become one of those things that's on a tick box of any aspiring expert, actually. It is not something that is going to change everything overnight. It is a part of your toolkit to showcase yourself. It's great to have the accolade of being a TEDx speaker, and actually I myself am thinking I'm probably going to go for another one soon. I think you've got to realise it has to be cohesive with the whole of your brand. So for me, talking about leadership was a natural thing to speak about. So I think the biggest misconception is it's going to change things immediately, or it's going to suddenly stratospheric launch your brand. No, it's part of the work of building your brand. TEDx is great, But I'm also going to say there are so many other speaking opportunities that are out there. And if you're passionate about sharing your message, about amplifying your message to other people, about sharing learning, and I think that's the key thing, the key duty of a public speaker.
And if someone is listening and thinks, yes, I actually would like to get hired for more public speaking gigs, whether it's paid or non-paid, doesn't matter. What would you advise?
This is interesting because I'm taking a group of women through this at the moment. So, curating female experts to speak into corporate organizations. And the first thing, if you want to get hired for more things, please do not just sit and post on social media. You have to ask. And that means being proactive. You must ask, and you must, if you believe your message is important enough, you need to drop the ego and realize that when you're asking and promoting, you are doing this in service of the message and the people you are going to help.
Yes. What have you taken away business wise from your public speaking?
That would be so hard to quantify. I very deliberately, I had a quiet period on social media and with my public speaking from 2020 when the pandemic hit. I've really just come back to it, but I was at an event last week and I was recognized by people at the event from previous public speaking that has seen my TEDx. It's something that it gives credibility when I work with a corporate. The fact that they can see that I've done a TEDx, that this is published, they can get a sense of who I am. So I'm introduced before I walk into the room or have that conversation with a potential client. They know what I stand for, and we know immediately if we're a fit to work together or not. The other thing that I have taken away is it has enriched my life. I get to work with interesting people. I get referred to work with interesting people and have interesting conversations a lot of the time. And for me, I couldn't ask for anything more.
What I take from this is that you see public speaking as a brand awareness tool or method, which is not your sole method. You also are active on social media and you're actively talking to people offline. Online, they can learn more about you.
Yeah. When we're public speaking, we're building connection. And personal brand for me, the one thing I say about personal brand, it's pervasive. It goes 360. So it's in what you write, it's in what you say, it's what you post when you're off duty. But the public speaking really gives people that sense of who you are.
We both share the ambition to amplify women's voices. And as you mentioned in your introduction, you're also the former chair of the Women's Network at the British Telecom, or BT nowadays. I also believe that more women on stage will help us raise our own personal brand and chances of getting hired and moving up in the corporate ladder. So how do you think women can become influential thought leaders?
Oh, I think firstly, again, it's back to that word courage. Nobody's had an original thought. We are all standing on the shoulders of giants. We all build on different ideas, but you've got to have the courage when you have a thought to voice it, to say it, whether that's in a team meeting in your professional career. There are so many times where I've sat and I've observed a woman put forward an idea and then the agenda's moved on, and then a man repeats the same idea and it's lauded and applauded.
I think everyone who's listening has been in that situation.
Yeah.
Either we've been overruled by someone else or we see it.
If I was in a meeting or I was chairing a meeting where I observed this happening, it would be, thank you, the gentleman. It's great to see that you're supportive of this lady's idea. It's great that you're building upon this. Perhaps you two can collaborate on this to move this forward.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're not diminishing him, but what you are doing is you're giving the credit where it needs to be, and you're making an invitation for collaboration.
You have clients that include NGOs, multinationals. At the same time, I hear that you're talking about helping individual women. Who should reach out to you? You're a generalist. You can help a lot of different people at different levels with different business challenges?
I'm very easy to find. So I'm on LinkedIn. It's Laura Trendall, and the Game Changer Consultancy is the LinkedIn link. Calendly is just www.calendly.com/game changer. You can book into my calendar there. And what I will say is we have a fantastic team. So in terms of the corporate training, we offer a wide span from profit improvement, leadership, strategy, emotional intelligence, communication, through to harder skills like project management, legal writing, technical skills. But in terms of working with corporates, and particularly with their gender networks, if they've got a cohort of aspiring female leaders, I would love to talk to them about the Game Changer for Women program and how that can support women in the organization. And part of that is obviously the public speaking and developing the brand for those corporate professional women. Equally, with my work with individual women, these are generally female founders that are working in a capacity, usually coaches, therapists that have a specific angle. So they are very much more specialist. I'm always very open to conversations. What I am is a connector. And I'm very happy to also put people in touch with the right people that can support their organization. So, as I say, I'm definitely what we call an open networker.
I'd like to thank you for your time. Is there anything else you would still like to share with us?
I would just like to thank you, Kirande, and I know you're early in your journey. I'm really excited about it, and it's been a real pleasure to connect with you. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds and how you can help other women advance further as well. And I'm sure we'll be collaborating further in the future.
I'm looking forward to it. After this very inspiring interview, I myself start to wonder, shall I also try to be on a TEDx stage? Who knows? And what is the one message that you want to bring into the world? It has taken me more than 15 years of entrepreneurship and freelancing to find my calling, which is amplifying women's voices and companies online. And I can tell you from first-hand experience that once you have a vision or a clear purpose, all the marketing becomes so much easier. Of course, I always knew that you have to find your why, but whenever I read that, I was like, what does that even mean? It's so vague, it's so big. So as a curious psychologist, I've dug deeper and tried to find methods in which we can find what is our purpose or our calling through other types of questionings or practices. And you can find the end result in my free online library. Go to kirande.com and request access, and there you will find a video called Find Your Why or Find Your Purpose. I forgot the name. If you're still watching or listening, then please like and subscribe. I'm just starting out at video podcasting, and I would greatly value your support and feedback. You can reach me on LinkedIn. I am really looking forward to be hearing from you. And next week, I'm interviewing Louise Ammerschuber, who has spoken at multiple TEDx stages and even at the UN, and she remained so humble. I'm sure you'll love the interview. Lastly, a quick shout out to Laura Brunton. It was via her Superconnector event that I got to meet Laura Trendall. So if you want to meet other inspiring, talented, high-achieving women in business, then go and look up Laura Brunton on LinkedIn and join us at one of the Superconnector events. And to the rest of you, have a lovely rest of the day.